Mhm. Hello,
What's up? How's it
Ken
going?
Dallas Tear Me. What's up, man? I'm doing all right.
That's good. Finally got my earbuds to work for some reason.
Have a little bit of blood pressure issues. I may die here. I don't know.
I've been dealing with that for years. If I can live, you can live.
Yeah. Yes, sir. How's it going? Just,
Here, take a few of these.
sir, I will not take drugs.
I shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm not those kind anyway. Anyways, welcome to what's tonight? Tuesday?
Yes.
I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore.
It's
Tuesday night.
Tuesday. Coming
Uh,
off some crazy busy days at work. I tell you what.
I didn't even work today, and I feel just out of it today. It's just weird, energies feel weird.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, I'm really starting to wonder because, like, public is usually crazy, but we're at a different level now, man.
I mean, even just me personally, and we have Beth here tonight, our dedicated viewer. Welcome, Beth. Thanks for watching.
Hey, that's awesome. I'm glad.
Me too. Let me turn some stuff off. Take her. There we go.
I got the shakies.
Right. This is the energies I've been feeling really off lately. I mean, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. It's just been really bizarre.
It is.
Background music.
I was talking to some people about some crazy stuff. What the hell is that? All right, everything's fine. Just in general, man, I've been going off on tangents all day with random people. I got joined that freaking. I don't know if you're a member of that like UFO group or whatever on Facebook. I feel like you shared me this group, and
I'm on a few of them, so I might be in there already.
You see this comment, dude? I started like a whole comment like war, man. I should have copied and pasted the comments, dude. Man, people get real defensive over the subjects of like, is religion involved in ufology or whatever, UFO stuff? And holy crap, man, do people get offended?
It shows even people in our way of thinking are still closed-minded.
Let me actually pull up the comment because I was in one of those zones when I wrote it. And I'm like, I think this is good. Let's see. Come on, man. Now I'm not going to be able to find. There we go. I said, so the original post was, how does religion and the discovery of extraterrestrial beings work? Like, how can you be religious? I took this as, how can you, how to be religious in this work?
Right.
The comments are nuts, man. But, oh, yeah, there's like 150 now. Mine was just here. There we go. I said, look at the creation stories as genetic manipulation by an advanced extraterrestrial race looking to make worker bees for its cause. Worker bees for its cause, and then you'll see it. Religion is the control of people's minds by means of the fear of death. The truth is the entire universe is one living being experiencing itself in infinite ways. There is no simple answer to spiritual religious subjects, but there are many people willing to capitalize on people's fear of death by offering an answer. And then this guy, he's like, just as with martial arts, like he's defending the religion stuff. Like people are capitalizing on fear of death by offering martial arts. Like, come on, that is not even a good argument, bro. I could tell this guy's level of understanding.
It doesn't have to do with anything.
I know exactly what he's trying to say is that like they're trying to sell you martial arts by your fear of death, and that's ridiculous. First of all, but he was he's saying that it's really the people who are faulty. I've been largely fully disappointed in churches, but I don't blame something that people have been a part of. That people have been a part of what has brought so much good into the world and civilization: hospitals, language, emergency relief, etc. Now, granted, I do agree on that subject, that the church does do some good stuff.
Oh yeah.
However, if you if you say you funded it, you were a terrorist organization and you killed thousands of people, but you also did some good. You know what I mean? Does that make you good ultimately? Yes, I just compared church to terrorists. I'm going down in the comments now, sir.
Who knows?
That's not what I'm really meaning, but whatever.
I see what you mean, though. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I guess it has to do with their intent behind the doing good part. I mean, usually they, scratch my back type of thing. They want something in return. It's not just good for being good, but.
Bro, when the churches ruled the world, people were slaughtered by the millions, and people were burned at the stake as witches. Like, we would have been burned for the stuff we say.
Or locked away like Nostradamus or something.
Exactly, man. It's crazy. I don't know.
He's a witch.
This comment thread has gotten out of control. It's kind of funny, man. It makes me laugh. Like, it's like in a UFO.
I need to check it out. Shoot.
That's okay.
I should be in that group then.
So for people who don't know, who I'm referring to as doing the genetic manipulation is like the Anunnaki or the Nephilim, whoever you want to call them. The pre-Adamites.
Mm.
And that brought me on the tangent I was on earlier about the pyramids with the guy I was working with.
Oh, because, yeah, you were talking about getting into that, yeah.
Dude, there was this video I came across, and it said that there's no actual recorded history of the Egyptians building the pyramids at all. It's not mentioned in hieroglyphics or anything. Apparently this is something that was added to fit this narrative.
Yeah, I think I heard that somewhere. But I didn't understand. Yeah.
What does that mean? They know they didn't build them motherfuckers. That's why.
They predate the Egyptians. They basically discovered them. They didn't build them. But it's a whole different ballgame.
Pretty much, man.
Yeah. So
I was talking about that at work. Was that?
I was just going to say, tonight's especially open mic night. We're just going to talk a variety of non-specific topics. That's the best way to put it. But just fasten no seatbelts, guys. All right, so
going wild. ADD to the max.
Well, I need some of that tonight. Like I said, I just feel drained. And I think it's my dreams too, though. I feel like my dreams are taking my energy and my force to power the other body or something like that. It's hard to explain it, but I've been like this all day.
Mm-hmm. I can dig it.
Anyways, you said something about at work.
Oh yeah, I was mentioning that, and one of my NPC coworkers, as I call him. Oh my god, he's like, no man, the Egyptians definitely built the pyramids, and like is there proof? By all means, you can look in the textbooks and say that the people pulled those blocks over the little rollers or whatever, but the logic there is not sound. The way it's insane. Like you go into like
they did manage to roll them over. How do they proceed to lift them higher and higher?
Mm-hmm. And plus the inside of the pyramid, like there's a section where these blocks are like 20 feet off the ground, like, and it's I don't know. Again, it's just not logical to me that these were built like they say they were. Not at all.
Definitely not.
No, man. Then all over the world, again, we keep finding that there's evidence that, like that these were built with some sort of advanced technology. And who did this? Why would this be hidden from us?
It had to be advanced.
And then the other subject we got on is the idea that, like, that bothers me a lot. You ever understand, like, I'm going to edit anybody that's watching this. Why the hell does time, like our recorded history, why did it go backwards when we talk about like the Egyptians, that time era? We're dealing with backwards time. Like it counts down to 0 and now we're going up. It's stupid to me. Like, you think that when they lived in that, they were, hey, tomorrow is going to be -1. We're going to go backwards a year. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense, man. Language, sorry.
Well, that's kind of what they did with AD. After his death, BC, they basically just reset the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. I know. But everybody used to say when I was a kid it was before Christ and after his death, right?
Right.
But I mean, he died in like 33 AD. So what happened in those 33 years? But I don't know. The same thing.
Kind of. You've been a little more lucky in terms of
I basically do shipping and receiving right now because
but as far as official labels go,
I
You're actually
control
higher than I am
control
now.
a small group of idiots. Just kidding.
Logistics. See, our
Yeah.
airport doesn't have that. Everything we do has to come from other airports, or since we're considered a spoke or whatever. I'm not going to get into detail about it, but in other words, you get a better deal.
We both do security, aviation security type stuff. And it is what it is.
DHS is all I'm saying. I ain't saying the other acronym.
Which is completely ironic, you know. Work for Big Brother, and yet I'm the most conspiracy-minded person you'll ever know. But
oh yeah, me too, and I hate it. I loathe it. I'm not a people person as it is. When you're forced to deal with them every day nonstop, it just gets to you. 7 years worth of that, I'm basically dead inside.
That's what happens, man.
It's time for a change.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, but
I mean, honestly, especially coming up next month, the pay is not bad, but the job itself is so toxic.
Right. We did an episode a while back that talks about the links, or what I think the links between spirituality and UFO stuff, and like whether or not there's, you know, like I was actually mentioning that to someone the other day that talked about like all the different descriptors in the Bible of, you know, the whirlwinds and whatnot. Like, what if you change that to UFO type stuff? And it's like, holy crap, man, that starts to make a whole lot of sense. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Could very well be dealing with interdimensional beings. Like,
maybe both.
That sounds, I mean, I guess that sounds crazy to people, but like, we're also talking about somebody who lives in the clouds coming down on a ray of light. What exactly is the difference here? You know what I mean? Like,
perspective.
It is. That's all that it really is. It's perspective and some terminology, and like,
but people's a physical place. I mean, so it's the fourth dimension. We just can't see it.
Yeah, one of the things, I actually did a whole podcast episode on this. The reason why people get so worked up about this was one of the things I was trying to get into. The reason why people get worked up over these subjects is based on worldview. It's psychology. So it's how you perceive the world, and anything that threatens that tends to make people lash out. So, like, say, you know, you're a religious person. So this kind of information would affect your worldview because, like, you know, according to the Bible, God created man. It doesn't say anything about him creating anything else. So when somebody tells you, hey, this is a possibility, no, that's crazy. That's crazy stuff. But again, like I tell my mom, it does not say that God only created mankind. Nowhere does it say that. He only created mankind. And, you know, like I even put it like this. Are we limiting the power of God by saying he could not possibly have created other things? I don't know.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword as it is. I mean, there's so many contradictions as it is too. I mean, is he an all-knowing, all-powerful creator being that's literally omnipresent at every possible second and from from beginning to end of reality as it is, or is he just a very advanced being?
Right. If you can't, I don't believe that anything or anybody can be all-knowing. You can't know everything. Then, like, I don't know. What is the point of existence if you already know what is going to happen? Like, what does that? What is the fun in that? I don't think so, man. I don't think that at all.
I mean, it's like being born, knowing exactly how your entire life's going to go out. That would be boring as hell. I mean, oh, tomorrow I'm going to experience this, or next year this is going to happen. You know, I'm already know what's coming. So.
I think, granted, I mean, again, I do think that some events are freaking laid out for you, but I think that's more to do with the catalyst of growing. You know, if you need to get hit in the face with an anvil, sometimes you're going to get hit in the face with an anvil. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. The idea that like God has a complete plan for you and that he knows everything that's going to happen, he knows every choice that you're going to make, it doesn't make any sense, again, because you have the free will to choose. But
well, that's the thing. Maybe free will takes away the knowing. So even he doesn't know because you haven't decided yet. So maybe that's why free will is a thing. But if he's not knowing, he would still know. I mean, but
It's deep. I like having existential spiritual debates, but that's important because like you can't talk about this stuff with people, man. Like people get so defensive and so worked up, and it's like, no, it's this way. And I actually pulled up like last night. This is what I do when I'm bored. Apparently I research the creation stories or like the different. So I researched the 5 top major religions in their creation stories to see how similar they were. And surprisingly, the Buddhists do not have a creation story. They actually, I damn near even more closely aligned with the Buddhist philosophy after reading that.
Same.
But
the whole purpose is they're not there to worship a being. Their purpose is to escape the rebirth cycle and reach nirvana. That's all they want to do. They don't even mention gods in their teachings. They have angels and such, but they never mention an actual god.
Right.
People assume Buddha's God, but that's far from the truth.
Yeah, no, that's the same thing my mom says. Like, do you believe in Buddha? Like, he's not a god. He's an ascended master. He's somebody who found nirvana and is trying to teach people that way, I guess. That's my understanding. Of course, I could be wrong, but
that was interesting. Do you know how Buddha died?
No.
Food poisoning.
Man, that would be the way he died.
Well, the way I thought it, because before I actually got more into it, I thought once he ascended, became the Buddha, he left Earth. But no, he actually stayed on Earth another 60 years as Buddha, and then he died of food poisoning in an old age, and then he became who he is over there.
Interesting.
So it wasn't like an instantaneous thing.
So I found this interesting. I'm going to have to read it now. So Buddhism does not have a specific creation story in the same way that other religions do. Instead, Buddhism focuses on the nature of existence, suffering, and the path to liberation from suffering, which is, man, that's good stuff right there. According to the Buddhist teachings, the universe has been existing in cycles of birth, existence, and dissolution for an indefinite period of time. These cycles are known as samsara. The concept of creation as a singular event is not emphasized. Buddhism teaches that all phenomena, including beings and the universe itself, are subject to impermanence, and I'm not going to try to say that word, and unsatisfactoriness. There's dukkha. I guess that's how it's been. I don't know. And the absence of enduring self, and another word, anatta. Maybe that's wrong. The focus of Buddhism is understanding the nature of these truths and finding liberation from the cycle of suffering.
Yes.
The historical Buddha Siddhartha Gautama did not extensively discuss cosmology or creation in his teaching. He emphasized the 4 noble truths, which address the nature of suffering, its causes, the cessation of suffering, the path to liberation, and through the 8-fold path. Interesting.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Buddhists believe you're born suffering, and you live suffering, and you die suffering. And that sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I'm becoming a Buddhist. It says Buddhism places less specific emphasis on a specific creation story and more on an understanding of the nature of existence and the path to liberation from suffering. It teaches focus on personal transformation, ethical conduct, mindfulness, and wisdom. See, how do people think that that's evil, man? That's just, it's ignorance.
Because they don't worship God.
So yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
I mean, I've ignorance. If I can ever become self-sustainable, going out to a temple somewhere and ordaining as a monk, you don't have to do it for a lifetime. You can just do it for a week at a time if you want to. Just to, to earn that karma, and the chanting and the meditation and the mindfulness. That's the challenge, especially for me. And just imagine how good these monks have it. They're completely free of life's, paying bills, going to work 9 to 5. They get fed from the people around them, take offerings, and all they do is pretty much work on their temples. They do their own maintenance, they do their own, cutting grass and all that. They do that, but they get fed, I think, twice a day, if that, and the food's given to them, and then they meditate and chant. They wear these just robes, and that's it. I mean, how simple of a life.
Man, that's nuts.
I mean, it sounds nice. And I'm considering if I can retire, even when I get old enough and I'm not got to work anymore, I probably spend the rest of my life as a monk.
Man, I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm. Assuming I live to be that old, if the world doesn't end beforehand, who knows?
All right, that's the other thing. Dude, I researched a little bit about. So I went and did different passages from the different religions and referenced that with some of the UFO people who say that these passages they believe are actually referencing like contact with UFOs or extraterrestrial entities. It's kind of nuts, man. Let's see. It's from the Bible, these ones right here. So Ezekiel 1:4-28. The passage describes a vivid vision experienced by the prophet Ezekiel, which includes descriptions of a wheel within a wheel and a shining metallic object in the sky. Interesting.
Sounds like a gyroscope.
Some interpret these descriptions as possible encounters with extraterrestrial beings or advanced technology. Ezekiel 10:1-22. This passage continues his vision and includes further description of a chariot and beings with 4 faces and wings. Again, some individuals speculate that these descriptions could be related to UFO encounters. Interesting.
Even Buddhism, their angels are stated as having multiple faces too.
That's the same thing in like Hinduism.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, man.
Supposedly angels are terrifying looking beings, not like we are perceived in, the stories and movies.
Right. I would hope that they're like that they're not terrifying, but it would be scary because maybe angels, quote unquote.
Well, you would think if they're fighting the forces of evil, they'd have to be intimidating looking. They couldn't just be this feminine looking guy with a sword, big fluffy wings coming at you. They had to be this grotesque, demonic looking thing that's good, but just fierce looking,
Right. Hey, man, who knows? I don't know. What is it? We got another one. Let's see. Exodus 13:21. This passage recounts the story of the Israelites being led out of Egypt by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Some also interpret these UFOs or possible UFO sightings or advanced technology guiding the Israelites. Interesting. See, I've heard the advanced technology story like all over the place when like in David Wilcock's stuff. He talks about that quite heavily. Let's see. 2 Kings 2:11. The passage describes the prophet Elijah being taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. There's another one, man. So taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. So in the that makes me think of all the Sumerian tales. Every single time they describe like the ships or the UFOs of the Anunnaki or whatever, they call them a whirlwind. Like because they're spinning.
Well, what if it's kind of like a portal,
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be
a vortex.
It could also be a vortex. I mean, easily. Like, honestly, they could be walking in and out of portals. They carried, like, no one's been able to figure out the device that the Anunnaki all carried. So all the higher ranking ones, they all carried this. It looked like a purse. It was depicted like some type of a purse. However, like I think of the show like Rick and Morty, how they had like an interdimensional. How he has the ability to travel interdimensionally with a little button, little remote. Like that. What if that's what it is? They have like interdimensional travel abilities.
Makes sense. Now what you're seeing here, I've seen this before. It's a pretty common illustration of what an angel actually looks like. They're not humanish or human looking at all. And I've seen one of theirs.
Can you still see me?
Yeah, you're down here in the bottom.
Okay.
We'll come back now.
Just making sure. Let's see. Depictions of Anunnaki. Images. So I'm trying to pull up this little purse thing that he's holding, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Let's see if I can do this without messing this game up.
It makes you wonder, do you need technology to open or travel through dimensions, or can you do it with thought if you're that high enough level of consciousness or awareness?
Hold on. I want to do this. Blood. Okay, yeah, I can't figure it out. Later, I'll figure it out.
What are you trying to do?
Say it again.
Crap, I forgot.
Talking about interdimensional travel. Do you need that?
Does it? Do you have to refer to technology, or can it be a natural ability?
I don't know. So I think that I don't think that the Anunnaki were at this point in time. I don't think that they were a interdimensional travelers. So I don't necessarily think they were above us as far as dimensions would go. I think that they were very much like
technologically advanced, but not.
Yeah, they were just technologically advanced. So I think that they could travel through portals to different places, but maybe not to higher dimensional realms. You know what I mean?
Just within this dimension.
Okay. Right. So you could travel within the third dimension to alternate versions of this, I'm sure. But as far as like going to the next level or ascending or whatever you want to call it, I don't know about all that.
Well, it's kind of my theory. Like I told you the other day, what did I call it? The Schumann resonance. That's basically the frequency the Earth gives off.
Oh, right.
Now let's say if every parallel Earth has their own frequency, even if it's off by 1 hertz, if you can somehow dial into that, and that's how you travel to that dimension.
Yeah, that's
tuning into that frequency.
Essentially what they say about like the portals and whatnot. So I mean, a lot of the ancient cultures, like in South America, they have stories about their elders like literally walking through a wall at a certain time, a certain celestial alignment. These people were able to walk through like a portal. I mean, we have like, there's that one picture, I don't know, it's on the side of a mountain, but it's like this big dial, a big circle. It looks like a giant portal, but it looks like it's like been half destroyed. I don't know, I can't do it. I can't remember the name of it right now, but
sounds like a Stargate.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like. And I mean, there's a place, I don't know if it's in Peru, where they talk about it's like the doorway of the gods. That's what they called it. And it's literally it's a wall, but they said that the elders walked through that wall to a different place, or the gods came through there to them. It's nuts.
I've heard of that. We got to think. The speed of light is extremely fast, but universally it's very slow. So there has to be means of getting around the universe faster than speed of light.
Right. I think that the ancient peoples were obsessed with these alignments for particular reasons because of the way the energy lines up. They could probably open doorways, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, supposedly Sirius, the star, is also used for some sort of traveling. I forget what I heard. It's called the Dog Star as well, but this thing is kind of like a jump off point for people that want to travel intergalactically.
Right.
Maybe that's what the sun is. Fast travel.
Easy. I mean, I believe that 100%, man. I think the sun is way different than we all think it is. I think there's a reason why the ancient peoples worship the sun. I really do believe that the sun is probably actually God, or at least an embodiment of God itself. But
what makes you think that? What is the sun? A big ball of fire burning in the vacuum of space with no oxygen. So how can it burn? Unless it's what they're trying to say now. It's more plasma than physical fire. But
I really thought about that. It's a burning out. Who knows, man?
Supposedly it has its own atmosphere too. But
space be messing with me. Like, what if it's not even hot? I mean, that's obviously hot, but
is it?
I mean, we experience the heat. I don't know. I would assume it is.
Well, they say the center of the Earth is a molten core. Maybe that's where the heat comes from.
It could be. I mean, it's hard to say, man.
So why is it freezing in space? Wouldn't space be hot?
I don't know. I think it's like the whole vacuum idea. So I don't know, because how does the heat? You think with space would be hot, but like, I guess it's because the heat, the rays travel and then they get hit by the Earth and get absorbed, or something like that.
Well, what causes heat is the frequency or the vibration of atoms, and that creates friction, which creates heat. If space is a vacuum without any atoms, there's nothing to cause that, chain reaction to create heat. So it kind of does make sense.
The light, the light travels and heats. I don't freaking know, man. This is beyond my level of scientific knowledge.
I mean, I've been studying physics for a long time. I kind of get what they're trying to tell us, but at the same time, it could be a complete lie. Like fire, sunspots that are bigger than the Earth as it is. I mean, who knows? Until we get up there and fly around in space, we won't know.
I mean, quite literally, the sun. I mean, if what they're saying is correct, the sun could easily wipe us off the face of the Earth instantly. Like, we wouldn't even know it, man. Launch a flare at us, we would die.
That's what I don't get too. They say the sun is 1 billion years old. It has a billion more years to go. How do they know that? Where do they get those time frames from? We weren't even here when the sun first came into existence.
I think I feel like they measure something, but like, it's weird because when we look at when they show these telescopic views of the center of the galaxy, technically they're looking back in time.
Yeah.
So it's mind blowing to think, but like to move through space is to also move through time, apparently.
Yeah, like they say, if you can go to the next galaxy over, if you have a telescope that's powerful enough to see the Earth, you'd see dinosaurs walking around. You wouldn't see us as we are now.
That's insane. That's one of those mind warps, man. It messes with my brain.
I can perceive it. It's basically, it takes time for light to get here. We're giving off light right now. If the light coming out from me right now was to go out, it took 10,000 years to get seen by somebody else. They're seeing 10,000 years in the past. Like if all the stars in the sky right now went out of existence, we wouldn't even know it until that light finally catches up to us. And we'll still see it in the sky, even though they're gone, because it hasn't reached us yet.
It's nuts. That's nuts to think about, man.
It is. It's like the sun. Our sun is 8 light minutes away. If it went out right now, we'll still see it in the sky for 8 minutes because the light just got to us.
Dude, imagine one of these stars, like from a distant place, launches something at us. It takes us 20 years to get here. We've been just chilling. 20 years from now, we're gonna die by this.
It's kind of that'd be crazy.
Maybe that's how they know.
I mean, there's so many things that could kill us: asteroids, gamma rays, gamma bursts, whatever they call it, solar flares. I mean, just cosmic stuff alone out there that could take us out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. It's one of those days, man. I'm trying to find out the notes here.
It's crazy. I just can't shake it off. This feeling I'm having.
What is that place called, man? I don't know. For a while, when I first started getting into the subjects of any kind of conspiracy subjects, I actually started a journal that I was trying to prove to myself. So I believe that in different areas of the world, there exists like natural stargates. And this was before I had watched anything that, other people were clearly already investigating that. Mm-hmm. And my theory was that you could use different psychedelics to get yourself up to a frequency to be able to use this stuff. Yeah. And because that's what they were saying when I was watching this documentary about the shamans down in South America, they would take, thousands of milligrams of THC and be able to enter the spirit realm or whatever.
But they're not physically going there.
They're going with they're essentially forcing astral projection and going there. But it was sparked by a story about these guys at the Stonehenge Monument. So there is these kids that went there one night, and apparently, I guess they completely vanished. Like no one ever heard from them again. And I thought about it, I was like, what do kids do, man? Kids do psychedelic drugs when they're out hanging out. So like, what if they went there and they were completely, on a different level and were able to use Stonehenge, which I believe that Stonehenge is a type of stargate. And at certain times of the year or whatever, they probably has some type of an energetic effect.
I mean, it does align with the stars in certain ways, specifically, the sun. It says like basically a giant calendar. Maybe it's set to go off at certain times.
Mm-hmm. It's honestly, it's in my it's in my journal that I started a long time ago. It was one of the big things I was researching when I really first got into the subject. And like when I got into the subject of like ancient civilizations and this stuff, like that's the path I took. It's like I was researching all of the different cultures that believed in these kinds of things, all of the different methods that they used. Dude, I had nothing but time on my hands because I didn't have a job at that time. Mm-hmm. And I was recovering from an addiction problem that I had. So, like, again, I spent tremendous amounts of time researching this. Like, the normal person doesn't have this much time. The normal people
I wish I
have
did.
to go to work every day and, don't have time to sit and research everything. But
and there's a reason for that. But they make us work so much. We don't have time to sit and think about this stuff.
right, the more that I've gone down this path of, like, what do you want to call it, pseudoscience that the mainstream people will tell you. And the reason why they call it that is because it's not backed by a university. Anything not backed by a university or doctors of the pharmaceutical companies is considered pseudoscience, even though anybody can be a scientist. Anybody can go out and do a scientific study. Like, it doesn't make it pseudoscience because you don't accept what they're saying. Like, the more I got into these subjects, the more I realized that, like, there is a wealth of information out there that is being hidden from the public.
Oh,
and why is that? Why has that always been the case? Just like now, finally telling us about UFOs or saying, hey, yeah, we know about this. Like, seriously?
But why the big secret? But I've always had a fascination, even as a kid, with these things.
Crystals.
And I've always had theories myself, even as a kid, that beings would use certain crystals as a way to enhance or multiply their abilities.
Absolutely, dude. If the stories of Atlantis, for example, are said to be true, they were said to be able to use crystals, to actually create life forms, dude. Like certain crystals, like quartz, or and that's one. They had a power source. Have you seen the freaking Disney movie Atlantis? I think I've talked about this before. Like how the people were going there to look for a power source. They literally have records that said,
and it kept them young too. Yeah.
Possessed this power source. So, like, the government actively went looking for it. Like, I firmly believe it. I firmly believe that Atlantis existed. I firmly believe that, like, there's probably, have you heard of the Bermuda Triangle and the crazy happenings there? It's because there's an underwater pyramid there.
Well, they say that the different types give out different, like this is amethyst. They say it's actually good for dreams and astral projection as well. Then you have obsidian, which is supposed to be good for repelling negative energies. And people actually say crystals aren't actually physical. They vibrate in such a way that they appear physical, but they're not. They're kind of interdimensional. That's quartz here, yeah.
I was hearing that if you rubbed 2 quartz crystals together, they will glow in the dark.
I tried that with these, but it didn't work. Because maybe they're not the exact same kind of quartz. This is smoky quartz. But I tried it, and I couldn't get any kind of...
So you've heard about that too?
Yeah.
So I've heard that you can connect batteries to them and, like, use, like yeah, because, dude, like, the watches, what kind of watches have the ones that go forever have, like, a quartz crystal in them or something like that?
Like, most of the screens are made of quartz.
Yeah, there it is. It's interesting. LCD, liquid crystal display. Is that what LCD really means? Liquid crystal?
Yep.
So our phones are using crystals.
My monitor here. And that was interesting because it reminds me when I saw that same thing, that rubbing the crystals. My grandfather back in the old days, and this is like the 80s, had these really round rocks. And the purpose of them, they called them smack rocks. And if you smacked them together, it did create sparks. That's how you did with them. So it reminded me of that. But for whatever reason, mine don't do it.
Oh, yeah, man. So I know you've always been into paranormal subjects. Like, what got you into, besides the Hat Man, like what got you into believing outside the box kind of stuff, or have you just always been outside the box?
I've always been outside the box. Even since at an age where I can't even remember the moment before or the moment after. I couldn't even tell you the year. Just that moment of that experience. Like with the UFO when I saw when I was a kid. That I could reach up and touch it, I swear I could. And then at the bottom of the stairs and my parents are down there grilling, they didn't react to it at all. I just had that one moment, that one memory. Even I questioned it as a dream. And it's just, this kind of stuff has always happened to me. My dreams have always been that way. I mean, just the things I can do in my dreams. Fly, breathe underwater, jump through trees, or...
A lot of people A lot of people don't believe in like the ability to do that kind of stuff in dreams. Like you tell them, and then they laugh at you. Like, well, yeah, that's not possible.
They don't have vivid dreams.
It is possible.
The kind of dreams I have, people have rarely, but mine are every night.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Definitely, man.
Like the dream last night I told you about. It was an eye-opening spiritual event. Need to go check on that?
Just a second.
All right. We continue. We are live, so and he's working with his kids in the background, so he'll be back in a short moment there. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and give us a like if you like the video. Help us grow. Help us show your support. We currently have our own YouTube channels. I have mine. He has his. His is Reflections. You can watch this live stream from either of our channels and on Facebook. Tonight's more of an open discussion kind of night. We don't have anything specifically planned as far as the topic goes, but yeah, we'll see. And for those that are watching, thanks for watching. Feel free to drop some comments and let us know what you think so far. If you have anything you want to add, any questions you may have, drop them in the comments. We'll be able to see them. I'll say hi in the comments. Just for the heck of it. So, smash that subscribe. You good?
Yep.
I thought I heard something going on, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I was crying about a bouncy ball, man. These are noise canceling, so I didn't hear it. I was like, I thought I heard something. Like
I thought I did too, but I was like, wait a minute, you heard it at the same time.
He was having a mental meltdown over a lost bouncy ball.
Kids do that.
Jesus.
I never did, but kids do that. I mean, look at kids we deal with at the airport. You take their iPad away for a second, they go ballistic.
Oh, yes, I know.
But you get it right back. They have a literal obsession.
Just get rid of the rule to taking it out, man. For God's sakes, I agree. But
I wish how much simpler things would be.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about this, there's some memories that my sister has confirmed as of recently that I've had that I thought I had honestly made up. And ever since I was in I think it was 5th grade, 4th grade, I had a change. So, I mean, yes, I'm aware you grew up a little bit, but this change was I was looking through my eyes, but I don't feel I don't know how to explain it, man. I don't feel like it was me. I've always felt like I'm kind of viewing as if I had a soul come into my body and obviously I'm here talking about it. It sounds crazy, but I've always had a view about the world that was different. And I've always thought that I'm not like a normal person, not viewing I can't explain it, man. But
well, let me do, because I had the same kind of thing when I was a kid. I might have been the same age. I remember one day we were just taking a family trip and I was sitting I think we were in a van or something. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, out of all the people on the planet, why do I have the perception from my point of view and nobody else's? Why is it, out of everybody alive right now, why am I me perceiving reality through these eyes? That's kind of how I went about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably the best way to look at it. It's all good. We just rambling about anything and everything here.
Yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. We just
basically I honestly appreciate you sitting here listening to it.
Yeah, me too.
We're talking about the idea that who are we as incarnates? The ability that a conscious person has to say, hey, I am. Who am I? You know what I mean? That's the idea of consciousness as a whole.
And what really boggles the mind is how you can hear your thoughts, even though you actually can hear them, but they're not audible, noises. They're internal monologues, but you can hear what you're thinking in your head.
Mm-hmm. And some people don't even have that, which is insane. But
I just recently learned about that. I mean, I can't even comprehend that. Is there just nothing up there? I mean, is it just silence? I mean,
you know what
I'm always
the freaking ultimate truth is? I was watching this video that says that the ultimate truth in waking up is realizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the one that is observing your thoughts, and it's deep. So your thoughts that are generated through your day-to-day are generated by your ego, your subconscious mind, or whatever. And you are the one, your higher self is the one observing your thoughts. So I don't know how to explain that, but
I kind of thought it was vice versa. I always thought my thoughts were my higher self, and the ego is what's talking right now.
It like you're conscious. So like I guess what I'm saying is like your thoughts that just automatically pop up. Like I guess your conscious thoughts would be your rational, your higher self thinking, but I don't know. I have to watch it. It sounded way more cool when I was watching the video, but
yeah, I got to leave that to you so I can watch it. That sounds interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, and also not everything you watch is good too. You know, anybody can make something sound good, say it with some authority, and get anybody to believe it. I mean, look what happens with evangelists, televangelist people. Make millions of dollars. That's the stuff that came to mind when I was arguing with that dude, but I don't know.
Well, I did want to touch a little bit on a dream I had last night, too. You know, we talked about before star seeds and light workers and such like that. But before I get into last night's dream, another dream I had years ago, ironically, I vlogged it, or I wrote it down, saved it on one of my sites. I went to look at it this morning, and I couldn't find it. It's not there anymore. I don't know where it is. Thankfully, I can still recall enough of it to know what I'm thinking, but this is years ago. But it's the one I found out, well, there's a chair and a monitor. And when you sat in the chair, you would disappear and appear on the screen on the TV or whatever. But that's the same dream that there's a list of people, and my name was on that list. I can only remember the first letter being an I, but I can't remember the rest of it. Now, last night, the way the dream started, I could jump really high, and I was trying to, show people that, check this out, I can do this kind of thing. I mean, they weren't like, their minds weren't like blown by it, but they were still like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But they weren't like freaking out. But I kind of realized that the way I did that, I was manipulating my own gravitational field. So gravity only affects you individually, not as a whole. But we're taught to ignore it, so it's all like a baseline. But anyways, I could change how gravity affected me, so I can go really high into the air. And fast forward later, I was doing some sort of training. I was running. Apparently, I was in better shape in this dream than I am now, but I saw people practicing like for football or something. I'm like, I should join these guys. It'd give me a reason to work out more. And we were like a competition. We were all doing something. It was down to 3 people, me and 2 others. It was getting late and people were getting ready to go home. So one of the guys on the side was like, hey, Indigo, come here. And I was like, okay, I'm coming. And I responded to that naturally, the word indigo. And I'm thinking, oh, is that my name? Then I started wondering later on when I woke up, oh no, it's not my name, but it's who I am. So you hear about indigo children or indigo adults. I started doing research on that. So apparently I got a whole other rabbit hole to jump into.
Oh yeah, man. That's a good rabbit hole to get to. Like I said, I believe my youngest child is probably an indigo child. But what that means is like you're essentially a soul that's from
higher dimension,
a different planet, higher dimension, if you want to call it. Yeah, that's what it is. So they're like from the 4th dimension, essentially.
Well, I guess what starseeds are, they're from different planets and more advanced with some. I think indigos are actually from a higher dimension. Maybe that's the difference. I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% on that one either. This is like, the realm of what you call that?
Weird.
Fringe spirituality. But I don't know. I'm interested in it.
It's very interesting. I mean, there's a whole culture based around it, so it has to be something to it.
Yeah, it makes me want to go on a binge of watching Ancient Civilizations and get back to my Gaia subscription, but I really do.
Other than social media and such, you don't even hear much about starseed and indigos on like these documentaries and TV shows. It's something that's still kind of not there yet as mainstream, but hopefully they get there eventually.
Yeah, I think it's hard enough for people to like accept the idea of like reincarnation as a whole, and then to think that reincarnation could possibly be, you could be from anywhere in the galaxy or whatever. Hell, that's
even other dimensions.
I mean, why not? I choose to believe in the possibilities of anything rather than needing proof to know something exists, I believe that, hey, just about any of this could be true or possible. Again, what I do believe is that we are being manipulated. But
oh, no doubt. They even talk about that in videos too, as far as certain indigos go, that the way society is created actually interferes with our ascensions.
Oh yeah, easily, man. Like if you look at the way society is set up, like, you know, living in a big city, for an example, dude, like, oh, you froze.
Oh, all right, I'm back.
Oh, looking at living, I mean, the way that the Native Americans lived is the way for us to be living. You know, living in harmony with the land, living like that, moving around, gathering food like animals do. That is ultimately the way we're supposed to be living in the cities and not experiencing nature, not, you know, doing the monotonous day to day. It's not the way. Most of us recognize that. That's why we get depressed, is because we know that I'm not trying to work for 70 years and then get 10 years off. You know what I mean? Like,
and even then, most people can't afford to retire.
Right.
And even get, you know, most of these parks, national parks, state parks, require passes. You have to pay to get into them. A lot of people can't afford that.
Everything. And
even nature.
Like, at some point in time, you know, all these, you know, people decided, hey, we're going to take this over. You're going to pay us to use it. You're going to have to pay to live in this house. You know what I mean? You got to work all day just to pay for the ability to live in your house that you live in right now and buy food.
And if you can afford it.
And we
accept on the other side of the spectrum, you're going to work 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, and still can't afford your own place.
It's true. And then get called, you know, like all kinds of names when you want to be able to raise wages and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Work harder like we did. Work harder. Like,
well, society is built in a way that you cannot survive on a single income. You have to be in a joint income household. You can't do it on a single income.
Yeah, the only way to really do it is, you know, generate multiple income streams, right? Like, but that's difficult, especially if you are new to this idea. Like, most of us were raised in households where our parents worked, their grandparents worked, and they worked till they retired, and bam, you know, there they are. When you're trying to get out of that survival mindset to try to create something different for yourself, it's difficult, man.
Mm-hmm. And everything just gets more expensive, and pay stays the same.
Yep. I don't know. One of the things I've been trying to do, though, is because I've been through a lot in my story. I'm trying to use my story as an inspiration to help people. That's what I've been doing with the TikTok thing. I've found my niche on that as far as that goes, man. Like, trying to help find, you know, people that are freaking suffering like the rest of us, you know, that realize that this crap sucks. This whole system sucks.
It does.
And one of the things I do want to mention is that it's important to note that whoever's really controlling this world is obviously trying to pin us against each other with all these issues. And, you know, I did that. I promoted my own video on TikTok, right? So it dawned on me that you could change the minds of a lot of people by promoting certain videos that get people. Think about that. You watch a video that gets you fired up and it's like, oh my God, I want to go yell at these people, and you go right to the comments. Do you think that maybe is set up?
Probably.
Do you think that somebody could put forth a crap ton of money to get that set up like that?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. So, like, again, there's all kinds of evidence that suggests that social media is being used as a weapon. It's important to note the next time you start to react to a video or anybody, let's think about it for a second. Was it designed that way on purpose?
Yes. And even my videos, I get very little interaction, comments on my videos, but yet there's always a troll in there saying something negative about it. I think it's automated. Did it pops up?
It could be, dude. Easy. It could easily be. Like, I mean, anybody that's that talks about these kind of subjects is subject to eventually somebody's going to attack them, because these types of subjects are not something that they want the mainstream. Just look what happened to. I don't necessarily support Andrew Tate as a person. However, it is obvious that the man is under attack by people who don't want him saying the things that he's saying. Like,
well, that's the thing. They're not attacking the story or the topic. They're
attacking the person.
They're attacking the quality of the video. Like, oh, you mumble. I don't listen to a mumbler. I get somebody else to listen to it and say I sound just fine. So I'm like,
yeah, not everything is gonna be for everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Ultimately, that's the way it boils down to. Like,
and eventually you'll see the comment disappear. So it's like their YouTube channel got taken down anyway.
Right.
So it fixed itself. Maybe they attack everybody and Google eventually deletes them. I don't know. And they still watch the video, so I'll take it as a view.
Hey, heck with it. I don't know, man. I say, like, keep on trucking, just like I told, my brother today. Some, my family member is going through a struggle time. A lot of people are going through a struggle time. Like, the point is to keep on going and keep on doing it. And don't let the negative opinions of somebody else affect what you're doing. You know what I mean?
It's hard.
It is definitely
an example of my curse. People actually do start believing I am cursed. I'm broke right now. I'm getting low on gas. So I was going to take a few games I have to GameStop that I don't play anymore, get some cash for it.
Mm-hmm.
I show up today, pull up to the front of the store, where the gate's down and we're closed, be back in half an hour, and our trade system's down. We can't trade video games right now. I couldn't even sell them if I wanted to, so I came home.
No, they're going to rob you, sir. You can just go on offer up, man.
I mean, I'll take what I can get. I need, for gas money. But it's just the point that happened to me. I couldn't even sell the games I needed to get a couple bucks of cash, because the store was closed and our system was down. For the main reason I went at that moment to there in the first place.
I mean, ultimately, that kind of stuff has happened to me so much that, like, it doesn't even surprise me anymore. So, like, I used to have that happen to me all the freaking time. And gotta stop saying you're cursed, sir. you have to stop believing that, because your mind is gonna, hey, this dude said he's cursed. You know what I mean?
People have told me
we're gonna keep doing it. Yes, don't let them tell you that.
My ex-wife was convinced. People in Seattle were convinced.
It's probably, look, bro, it may be true, but you don't accept it.
Well, I was told there was some bad karma from a previous life that followed me to this one, and I still got to deal with that. But anyways, like when I was still in Seattle, TDC is not one of my favorite spots to go.
Mm-hmm.
And people would get mad at me when I had rotated to TDC, because it could be completely walk up, not a person out there. As soon as I walk up to that podium, the crowds just come instantly, and people would get mad at me to the point, oh crap, he's going to TDC. Sure enough, I walk up there, here they come.
It happens to me, man.
It happens here at this airport too.
I believe it.
I can't turn it off. I'm sorry. So I apologize in advance when I go up there. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, we're gonna get busy.
This guy, silly man, silly.
The struggle is real.
It is. Woo. Man,
but I can laugh about it. I mean, it's there. That's the main reason I bought this, to help tone it down some.
Right. I don't know, man. Again, I believe that we control or have influence over our reality, so it's important to say no, sir. Say no more. I don't know. I used to have bad things happen to me in threes.
Well, I just actually recently saw something interesting about these draconian ships being discovered out of our atmosphere that have mind-controlling technology, and they have the technology to take them down, but they won't, because that sudden shock of releasing us for that mind control will be too much and overwhelm us, so they can't do it yet.
We just dove into a deep subject in the last minute here, sir. But yes, the Draco, like the reptilian, they're saying that it could possibly be controlling mankind. I mean, if you believe the positive exists, the negative must also exist.
Oh, yeah. And they're saying one of the things the mind control does is limit our abilities. And if they were to turn it off, we would start literally manifesting things that we would not understand what's happening. So that they're scared of taking these things down, because that sudden shock of releasing us from it to being free would just be too much. If they do it anyway, screw it.
Yes, they should do it. I mean, but it also might drive people nuts. You might go into a psychotic break. I don't know.
You're like, man, I'm hungry. Oh, wait, where'd that sandwich come from? Oh, shit.
I don't know, man. Yes, sir. All right. Anyway, this is definitely something I'll discuss later, though. I like the idea of that.
All right. So next week we'll talk about more of the Draco and mind control stuff.
Because there's a whole different example throughout history about evidence of mind control. You know, the Nazis were using it, like
that's what I say.
MK
5G
Ultra. Oh, there we go, sir. We got our subject for next week.
All right, guys, tune in next week, same time, same place. We're going to talk about some mind control and what might be putting it out there.
All right, my friends.
All right, we'll catch you later. Thanks for being on.
I'm gonna go find my kid's bouncy ball.
Good luck.
All right, man.
All right, so yeah. All right, so we're gonna wrap up tonight's show. That was Mr. JB333, and I am the Seeker. Most of you know my real name anyway, but what is? So yeah, come back next week, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 Pacific, and we'll talk about some mind control, maybe some draconian reptilian beings, and what else not. And thanks again, Beth, for tuning in and being a dedicated watcher. We appreciate you as well. You have a good night. We'll catch you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.